Hello, everybody. Welcome to the BPM Sage Intacct Release 3 for 2025. This is our quarterly presentation of selected new features in the Sage Intacct world. And we're excited to share some really good stuff with you today from the release that just came out on August 8th. I am Tom Aker. I'm a director in the Sage Intacct practice here at BPM. My responsibilities include customer success and also solutions consulting. So that means putting together both the modules from Sage and modules from marketplace partners that we work with to create the best possible solutions for our customers and then stay in touch and make sure that that's all working for them.
And I'm Michael Sudbury, Senior Systems Implementation Specialist. I'm a longtime user of Sage Intacct, both on the client side and then now implementing it for many years. And I'm always excited to see what's coming out on these new releases and how it can improve our lives with working in Sage Intacct.
A little bit about BPM, if you're not already familiar. We are a firm that's 38 years old, 39 years old now, and we operate in multiple states, multiple countries. We're based in the Bay Area, and we're a full-service CPA firm. Michael and I both work in the advisory practice in technology services, hence the software emphasis, but we have colleagues all over the place, and we recently were named California CPA Firm of the Year, mid-size Firm of the Year, and we're very excited about that.
And today we have hand selected a few of the topics from the new release that we wanted to bring to you. These are our highlights, by no means a comprehensive list. We can tell you about how to get to that list a little bit later, but today we want to cover the email domain validation required. This is going to be a big one for pretty much anyone working within Sage Intacct. The addition of vendor payments natively in Sage Intacct through Mineral Tree, new line level PO matching in AP automation, the delegation of bill approvals, the ability to combine documents now in the purchasing cycle, new import service experience, which is something that I'm really excited about, especially for like the whole setup thing. The new addition of customer refunds, that's something that has been asked for quite some time now. Flexibility now in applying your AR credits. Advanced ownership consolidations now has the equity method, and Sage Copilot close automation, which is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, it feels a little like we're burying the lead with the Copilot, but we'll explain that a little later. What is very important for any company who's sending emails, whether that's payment notifications, invoices, statements, anything that an organization is sending out of Sage Intacct will need to validate their sender domain. And I know this has been splashing up on login screens for about a year now, I think, but it's actually required now to get those DNS keys set up and validated so that your emails will be sent properly and will get past a lot of spam filters that might have stopped them previously, because now the domain has been validated for sending out of Intacct. So if you are struggling with that, or if you haven't done anything about it yet, please reach out to us. It does take a little bit more than the accounting and IT team. You need to have somebody who has access to those DNS keys and can update that for your domain.
Yeah, and this is going to be a requirement for anyone using any of these Sage Intacct email services, correct?
Yeah.
We now have in general availability the addition of vendor payments by Mineral Tree. Now, Mineral Tree is a long-standing Intacct marketplace partner, so it is a proven solution. But now you're going to be able to have that integrated into Sage Intacct itself, so there's no need to go out to a third-party software for your payables. Especially if working with AP automation, you can have everything in-house in Sage Intacct, and it's going to be very powerful.
Yeah, this is really great for organizations that rely on features like dimension relationships, smart rules, and smart events that are built into your workflow, that all of that will stay with you in Sage Intacct. But then just when you get to the payments piece of your P2P cycle, you can go ahead and stay in Intacct and send those payments out using Mineral Tree's payment engine. Another feature that's coming or that augments that AP automation inside of Sage Intacct is the ability to enable line level matching for purchase automation. Now, we can already set up the ability for uh, the an incoming invoice through your AP automation to match to a prior PO document if we have that configured to work that way in your Sage Intacct environment. But with this, it's in early adopter still, but it soon will be in general release. This enables smarter line level matching. So right down into the lines and specific details of those lines for your POs to bring into and match with your vendor invoice.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to see them continue to enhance the AP automation and now purchasing automation. It's something that can save people a lot of time if they're having to do any research or any reconciliation. So,
Yeah,
definitely a feature I love to see.
yeah, and I should point out too that if you have a subscription to AP automation at any tier, this capability for matching to purchasing documents is not extra. It's part of your subscription.
Now, hopefully, everyone has the ability to take some vacations and get some time away. One big feature that is coming out is the ability to delegate bill approvals. Now, historically, you'd have to go in and change your approval rules or manage your approval permissions and move everything around manually. They've made it a little bit easier now where an admin can set it up to have bill approval delegates. That means when you're away, you can have someone else approve this. And now the nice thing is we still are going to have audit logs and reports to track the delegation activity. So there still will be controls there. But this will make it a lot easier to manage your approval process when people are on leave or on that vacation they so well deserve.
Yeah, and this actually would have been handy for a customer just last week who asked for our help in getting their approval process um, caught up because somebody important in their workflow was out. And if they had delegate bill approvals last week, they could have just had that happen without having to worry about making any changes to their process. In purchasing, we're going back to purchasing again here. You're now able to bring multiple source documents into a transaction conversion. So in the example here, we get a invoice from a vendor and it references details from two different purchasing transactions, POs or receivers. And we can now, from within that vendor invoice, select which are the source documents for that invoice, and it can be more than one. So that's a nice change, very helpful in that workflow, and should streamline things for the folks on the payment end as well as the purchasing department.
Sage is also rolling out a new Intact import service, and this is something I'm personally very excited about. It's going to make it a whole lot easier for you to import records into Sage. Now, one of the things that you haven't been able to do historically is update things like chart of accounts or statistical accounts. Things like vendors, those are fields you can update, which is really useful. But say I want to add a new dimension requirement for a whole bunch of accounts or change quick start categories for a whole bunch of accounts. That's something that would be a manual, tedious process, me going in, selecting every single account. Now we're going to be able to update those. So that's a big feature. And the other really big thing about this tool is it makes it a lot easier to do the import. It shows you column by column where things are going to be lining up within Intact and then also where the errors are within that. So even before you try to push through your import, you will see where the errors are in your file and it will be a lot more descriptive. I know that's a big learning curve for a lot of people. like figuring out how to read the Intacct error files, and this should mitigate some of that. It should make it a lot easier, and I'm hoping to see this rolled out in more fields within Intacct.
Yeah, I would have loved to have this for journal entries last week, but I did use it just recently for adding some accounts to a client's chart of accounts, and it was great. It was a great uh, space to work in. I think you still need to click on import service if you're in your company data screen that has all of the upload opportunities. You need to click on the import service link at the top of that screen to be brought into this window here. And as Michael pointed out, right now it's just being used for dimensions and accounts updates and adding, but in the future, we'll be able to use this import service across the board for transactions and all the other imports that Intacct has always enabled. Another thing that people have asked for years is a better way to do customer refunds. This is something that came from the ideas that are submitted through the Sage Intacct community, and they've made it quite streamlined to not only be able to uh, create refunds from adjustments, but also to pick up refunds from advances, from negative invoices, from overpayments. All of that can now be pulled into a refund. And if you could see this illustration, it's very small, but you can actually pull in more than one kind of adjustment into a single refund and then process that through your normal payments process. So it'll update all of the records. Currently, the payment method that shows up for this is only the record transfer, but that will be changing in the future. That's the way that it's recorded in the system for now.
This is something that's been requested a long time. So if you're not familiar with the community ideas, that's a great place to go out and put ideas for any system improvements that you think may be a good idea, and then also go out there and upvote anything that you see that you do like. That really does get a lot of traction for Intacct in their roadmap, like bringing out new things that the customers actually request. Now we also have some flexibility with how you can apply credits. Previously, applying credits, you have to go in, you receive the payment, and you're doing almost like a false payment, like you just apply the credit there. Now you're going to have the ability to distribute those credits in a few different ways. One of those ways is directly from advances or the AR adjustment list. It should, help a little bit with actually the workflow on applying those credits. I know it's a little counterintuitive for some people to go in and like, I want to apply a credit, but I have to go basically pay a bill with a zero balance in cash and then apply the credit. I actually had a client recently think that was a little odd. So happy to see this come out now.
Yeah, there's just a few things like that. They work, but they seem a little odd, and they're getting a lot of that stuff cleaned up, which is great. Now, if you are running a multi-entity organization and you have different levels of ownership, whether that's joint ventures or minority interests, you may be using or want to use advanced ownership consolidations. In the past, you've been limited from that. The advanced ownership consolidations was able to do mixed consolidations of partial ownership, but not able to wrap the equity in net income into that roll up. So that is now something that's being rolled out in the early adopter status. If you're interested in early adopter qualifications, reach out to us and we'll help you get into those programs. In this illustration here, you can see that E401, the entity at the bottom of the diagram, is owned in part by different entities that all roll up to the holding company at the top of the diagram. So in the example on the right, E401 is 30% owned by E400. So when their net income is $100,000, 30,000 of that belongs to E400. And then E400's total net income, which includes that 30,000, is then rolled up at a 40% ownership into E100. So that kind of complex ownership calculation would have had to be done outside the system in the past. But now you can set up these advanced ownership structures and roll the equity in income into that consolidation. Super cool, something that other providers just wish they had. And we're excited that it's an early adopter and looking forward to that coming out in general availability for our more complex organizations.
Yeah, if you've ever had to do consolidations manually, it's not an easy process. It takes a lot of time. There's a lot of room for error. So seeing Sage continue to advance the consolidation tools is really exciting. This is something, like Tom said, that would have to be done outside the system and just is not an easy task. And this tool makes it easy. So very excited to see that.
Yeah, if you have 5 entities like that diagram, you might be okay. But if you have 50, 100, that would be a nightmare without something like this.
And then also, we're excited to talk about the close automation module, Copilot, in general availability and early adopter. So some features are now available. It's very new, actually just available this week. And then there are still some pieces in early adopter. So we're going to have features like variance analysis that are going to assist with your budget and trend analysis, close assistant feature, which will be useful to a lot of people, helping you see where you're at in your close. And then also sub ledger reconciliation assistant that will all be available for general availability now. And then in early adopter is the close workspace feature. This is going to centralize it, track where you're at, and then optimize the entire close process. So definitely excited to see that feature roll out.
Yeah, they showed a lot of these features off at the Sage Future conference a couple of months ago, but we haven't had them actually available to existing customers until just now. So that closed workspace that's still an early adopter will be the environment that houses all of these other features. But for the time being, if one of these features that's in general availability is something that appeals to you, please let us know and we will help you get set up with that or learn more about it. And we're looking forward and standing by to bring more Sage Copilot features into your month-end close as well as your day-to-day working environment.
So once again, this isn't the full release notes. We just wanted to select some that we thought were important to some of our clients. So we covered the email domain validation that's required, vendor payments through Mineral Tree being a new addition, line level PO matching in AP automation, the ability to delegate bill approvals, combining documents and purchasing, the new import service experience, once again, that I'm very excited about, customer refunds, flexibility in applying AR credits, advanced ownership consolidations, now having the equity method, and then also the Sage Copilot close automation. Now, if you want to see the full release notes, we can take a look on how you might be able to do that. If you click on the home icon within Sage, they'll typically put the release notes right there for you on the top of the page. And this typically rolls out a few weeks before the release. Here you can see all the system enhancements that have been rolled out. Now it is categorized by release. If you haven't checked in a while and are just curious, you can actually see there they have all the release notes in recent times. So you can go back and check features that may have rolled out that you may not know about. But if you go back to the top there, Tom, you can see this is broken down by the different sections of the system. You can also go in and see regional updates, so things that may pertain to your region or country.
Yeah, you want to look at United States if you're operating in our area, and that
Mm-hmm.
will just filter the list. You still get all these handy highlights and a release video, but that way you're not getting too excited about things that are only coming out in Germany.
Exactly. And if you scroll down, you can see there are updates that are plentiful. There are updates upon updates. Um, like I said, what we try to do is pick our favorite ones that we feel may pertain to our clients. But if there's other areas of the system that you're working in often, maybe check to make sure there's not a fun new release out there for you.
Well, thank you very much for joining us for our quarterly release update. And we hope that you got something out of that and have found some new features that you're excited to use as much as we are. And we look forward to seeing you again next quarter. Thank you.